This is the exciting world of Dragon Age Origins, and this is mediocre at best. Just me, Marcus, playing it. Or not Dragon Age Origins. Oh my god, I fucked this up already. Yes, this is Dragon Age Inquisition, the brand new Dragon Age game, which I got for the Xbox 360 for some reason. I sort of regret getting it for that, not the PC. It might not necessarily be clear in this video, a little bit, but the 360 version actually has a lot of clear graphical issues. Like, it's not nearly as high resolution as I would expect. Like, lots of screen tearing during cutscenes, and like a ridiculous amounts of like texture pop in and loading issues. Like, the loading screen actually takes up a pretty decent amount of time, and like the game comes with 2 discs, one of which you install. It's like 7 gigs or something like that for the again, the 360 version. So if you want to get Dragon Age Inquisition, definitely get the PC or Xbone or PS4 version. Highly recommend doing that. But other than that, like besides the graphical issues, the game runs perfectly fine. The combat is a ton of fun. Oh my god, what the hell was that? I guess graphical issue number 1. Anyways, so here I am, just running around in the hinterlands. This is after the like sort of prologue introduction area, and what happens here is that you sort of you go to these hinterlands, which are near Redcliffe Village. If for those people who've played Dragon Age Origins. So right now I'm just in the quest map, which you can access from your main menu, and just deciding, okay, what quest do I want to do. Right now I'm looking for some camp, looking to for the nearest campsite, because as you can see, my party is pretty much all dead. And so here I am chugging a potion that was a replenishment potion, which heals you obviously over time, like very similar in the other games. You can see in the top left, my health is slowly going up, which is very key. An interesting thing about potions in this game is that the way it works is your regular, like, straight up healing potions, you start off with 8 out of 8, and those replenish every time you go to camp. But for specialty potions like this replenishment potion, you have to use materials that you've gathered over time. You saw like the little pulse around the character, yeah, that little orange pulse. That actually tells you if there's just lootable goods nearby. So you just click the left stick, and that pulse happens, and you hear a small chime when there's something within the distance. And so here is this is the campsite. So you just go here, decide to set up a campsite, unlock a nice little achievement, Trailblazer. A lot of fun here. So yeah, you gain influence, which is like an interesting stat that allows you to get way more like overarching upgrades. So things like merchant discounts, new dialogue options due to knowledge. So yeah, you can like spend your Inquisition points to train yourself to learn how to like say the history of Thedas, or to understand the criminal underworld more likely. This place is full of like little quests and things like that. Like this weird little thing in a tree, like dead guy, dropped a map, and that's just straight up a brand new quest. So here's harvesting some blood thistle, having a lot of it's actually a lot of fun just running around collecting goods. I've gotten like about 80 iron, 80 like elf fruit, things like that, because there's a pretty robust crafting system. Like, I barely touched it from where I am. Like, I'm level 4 right now. I'm basically at the beginning of the game still. I'm not going anywhere soon. And you can craft your own weapons, armors, weapon and armor upgrades. So that's similar to Dragon Age 2, where you the ruin system, except it's you can do it on a wider scale. This is cool. So this is like some weird skull telescope. Thankfully, you don't need to put in $1. It's a lot cheaper than that. And what this does, it reveals to you these shards that are just sort of like in various areas of the map. And when you look at it find the shards through this like skuloscope, it reveals them on your mini map, so you can just pick them up, and that corresponds to a quest that you get like straight up when you pick up your first shard. Like, I'm just literally running around. Like, you can see on my mini-map I have 4 quest markers, and each one of those markers is like the hinterlands maps, as you can see by my quest tracker on the right. And I just using that like, okay, these are the approximate areas I want to go. But it's really easy to just go around and accomplish all sorts of other quests. Um, and like traveling around is very easy. Like I'm basically going down a sheer cliff, and yeah, party members just pop in. You know, it might be immersion breaking, but I really don't mind as long as your party members stay as close to you as possible for when shit hits the fan. There's nothing worse than like MMOs and other like RPGs like this, where your party members get stuck on the geometry and can't support you if you're in combat. Like right here, there's a little skirmish going on between the Templars and the mages, and it's not even like the legit armies for each. It's like rebels of both sides. So like the regular army is like, yeah, we don't want any to deal with any of your shit. You're all idiots. We're not part of them. They're like basically the super radical feminists from the feminist movement, and like the goddamn misogynists in the Gamergate movement. The real group doesn't want anything to do with these horrible people that everyone sees. So, you know, they just don't make any mention of it. This is cool, and this is the tactical mode that you hit. So on the Xbox controller, you just hit back on the you just hit the back button, and so it completely pauses the game, and it allows you to like go one by one, take an overview of this map, and set up what you want your characters to do. And you can switch between your characters like very easily, and you can stay in this mode as you start combat by just holding the R button, and that just makes time move forward, and allows you to stop at any time to like queue up new abilities and actions. And so it's a really strong combination of the first game and the second game's combat. So this is very close to the first game, where like you can sort of like tell your characters what to do, and they'll just sort of go about things automatically with whatever input you have. And the second game is more shown. I'll show it to you. It'll be shown later on, where you just focus on your own character and what they do. So I think I'll be. Well, yeah, those guys just sort of up and disappeared. I don't know what was going on, but you know, I just want to figure out. Let's see if I can attack. Maybe that'll change something. Nope, they're gone. One cool thing is that if you look at the top left, oh, not anymore. I'll go back to it when it comes in. So yeah, like you can see all these like icons on my map, which does get filled out as you go around. Like the mini map, there's no terrain on it, which like at first I was like, oh my god, I couldn't find a map at all. And yeah, that was a pain. So at the top left, you see like those silver markings over my character. So I'm a warrior using a sword and shield, and that is a special resource that warriors get called guard, and it's basically a barrier that prevents you from taking health damage while it's active. And most of your abilities give you guard to some degree. Primarily because like I'm actually. So my party members are currently Varric, Cassandra, and I believe Soras. He's new, like really new, so I'm not too as familiar with him. But yeah, I have the same loadout as Cassandra, which actually works out pretty well. Don't touch these glyphs unless you make them, because they're giant ice traps and sort of bad news bears. And yeah, you can see like I'm just like telling my army, my guys where to go. Like Varric and Solas focus on the weaker mage, whereas my guy, the weaker mage, whereas my guy is getting right up and close and personal with his Templar. Yeah, and the way you control your guy is you hold the right trigger, and it starts attacking, and then you can use the abilities as much as you want, as long as you have the stamina and they're off the cooldown. So yeah, I just get hit by that ice mine, so avoid those at all costs. I don't do a very good job of that. But I'm still new to the game and its systems, and I wasn't thinking about that at the time. So yeah, like there's lots of these huts all over the place, and they're literally ramshackle. Like, look at that. There's no ground at all. It's just a dirt floor, and there's tons of holes and stuff. But again, this is a war ground between the rebel Templars and the rebel mages, so it's to be expected. Yeah, I'm just looking around for other enemies and more prime targets for Solas and Varric, and yeah, just going for the mage. Like mages have very little health, but they typically have a barrier that they can pop, and the barrier often affects their entire combat group. You get it too. Like I believe that's I could be wrong. I believe it's the blue bar that, as you saw on my health. Because Solus does have barrier as one of his starting moves, which is it's a fairly useful move because again it's a extra health bar and magical floating arrow. I don't know if that's something that Varric shot that got like frozen in the middle of this animation, which would be cool, but then should have fallen. So graphical problems. Even though that's more of a glitch. This is like a funny little bug or glitch that you would see in the Skyrim type thing. Which this game is actually very much Skyrim-esque in terms of the amount of exploration. Like these massive this map, like the map isn't like one giant thing in Dragon Age. It's rather like you'll see as we go through, like this area is huge. There's tons of stuff here. There's tons of quests, tons of like markers to find. Like honestly it's way improved over Dragon Age 1 and 2, which are more like sparse areas and battlegrounds. And the improvements, it's honestly like baffling. Like I like Dragon Age 2. I think it's a fun game. I'm sort of, I guess, paused to chat with somebody on something, so maybe just cut this part out, but probably not because I'm lazy. Anyways, back to it. I like Dragon Age 2. It had its problems. Like, I'm not gonna say like, because the areas were completely recycled. The combat was fairly shallow and was honestly sort of boring at times. Like, I remember fighting the Arashock as a sword and board type character like this. Sword and board is my typical like class, by the way. It's just like my preferred style. Yeah, and it's like all I was doing was running around waiting for my cooldowns to drop, and like in the potions taking 50, like I don't know, like 45 seconds before you can down another one is just really annoying. Trying to fight this boss who has like 18 times more health than you. So here's one of the shards. As you can see, I think that was the first one I got. Could be no, I got the first one in the destroyed house. Anyways, yeah, that's corresponds to a quest that you get when you suddenly get the shards, and like just running around this area looking. I remember like the shard where the approximate areas of the shards. It's like one was in this abandoned fort. That, yeah, okay, yeah. Random enemies just sort of pop up at times, and those defenders are a huge pain in the ass. Like they barely take damage. They have a ton of health, and like they have a bunch of abilities that can easily knock you down. Even like their main hit. If you don't. So one of the abilities I have is Shield Wall, where I can block instead of like attacking. And like I'll just absorb hits and gain guard, like so. But like if it hits you or if it breaks your block, like you're gonna get knocked back, knocked right the frick back, and it's really annoying. Like these guys are awful. So what I would recommend if you play smart, like the smart way to do it, is get Solus to freeze one guy, and then Varric has the explosive arrow, which he can use, and that will shatter them. So if you remember from the previous games, you can use like those status effects like frozen and then explosive to shatter enemies, doing massive damage, if not killing them outright. And like that's an incredibly easy way to get these really tough enemies out of the fight as fast as you can. Alright, so just doing something, getting Solus healed. I can see like here they're leveled up, but the game isn't intrusive about it. Like it's just that small arrow that pops up periodically in the top left in their character portrait. And so I honestly, while I was playing, I barely noticed them leveling up at all. And so these guys are actually smart for like scouts. Like they're just moving they're moving awkwardly back in, just like shuffling their butts back in order to like just get back into their hidey hole, I guess. And just makes it hard as a melee character to like hit them, just because they move back, and yeah, your strikes don't have a ton of reach. You do have a really cool thing, is like if you push forward and use the attack button, you'll do a lunging attack like so. Otherwise, you just do like a sort of standard slashing combo, which makes a lot of sense in terms of like how combat works. Or as I would expect combat to work. Like it's not like all these super flashy weird moves, but rather like a small stable of useful abilities that you'll constantly be using. Okay, so yeah, there's treasure chests. Like treasure chests aren't nearly as elaborate in this game, but they're filled with all sorts of stuff. Like the sheer amount of loot you get in this game is really impressive, and a lot of it is more like crafting materials, which thank God do not do not count towards your inventory limit. This is really cool. Is that you can sort of plant the Inquisition flag at various points of interest, and these points of interest give you all sorts of like lore and details about like the various areas. So here we have Fort Connor, which was set up by Arl Eamon for his father um, after Ferelden was freed from the Orlesian rule at the beginning of the Dragon Age. And so yeah, just see me going around looking for the rest of the loot. It's actually like the little loot boxes are very small, and it's pretty tough to see in all honesty. So yeah, here's another note regarding the Templar encampment. That's another quest, and I think it just sort of gives you directions that you might already have the quest, but a bunch of notes just come out giving like little quest hints. And so if you bother to read this stuff, which I knew I was recording this, so I didn't do a lot of reading just because I figured I could always get for later. But like there's tons of notes and just like letters and poems and stuff just strewn about the world, and I think that's an amazing touch. Gives it a lot more flavor. It makes the world feel lived in.